I want to show you how I get my kombucha to pour like this. And to show you how, I'll be making an experimental kombucha infused with hops and mango. But before we start, we need some kombucha. I always keep a large batch of kombucha brewing, which can end up quite strong. And I've linked the video where you can see how I make my kombucha. But I'll usually take my kombucha base, water it down a little more with tea, just without the sugar, and then infuse it with other flavors. But this time, I'm going to take a page out of beer brewing. Instead of using tea, I'm going to be using hops. Granted, I don't know much about hops, but I just happen to have some Magnum hops and some Citra hops. So I'll boil some water, and once that water starts boiling, I'll add the Magnum hops. I'll let it boil for around 15 minutes and then I'll cut the heat and add my Citra hops and then let the hopped water cool down and then filter it. I'll add that hopped water to my kombucha base and then give it a taste. Now it was still a little strong, so I did add more water, which brought me to 1 liter of kombucha base and 2 liters of extra liquid. And it kind of looks like I'm watering down the kombucha a lot, and I am, but the kombucha will provide that ever so light tanginess that will make this so refreshing and still have all that good bacteria. For the mango part of my booch, I took some frozen mango, then blended it up with some of my hopped kombucha, and then added it back into the pot, and then set that in the fridge overnight to infuse. And the next day I strained everything out. First, I added some kombucha to a couple pressure safe flip top bottles to bottle carbonate, but I added most of it to this 4 liter plastic keg I bought online with a few gas fittings attached. This is going to let me force carbonate this kombucha, with pretty much no chance of a bottle bomb. So while the initial small investment in some fittings and a regulator might run you just under $100, CO2 is pretty cheap. And a few minutes of learning the basics of kegging, and now I can more safely and successfully carbonate my kombucha. So after a day in the fridge connected to CO2 gas, I'm able to attach this tap fitting to this plastic keg and dispense myself a single glass of beautifully carbonated kombucha whenever I want. And this kombucha turned out okay. It's a little bitter, hoppy, sour and fruity. However, I think I may need to play around with different hops and different methods of infusing the hops.